Zaldrizes buzdaris gosdau.
Hello and welcome to Sir Hunt's Reviews. We are here. I'm going to try to calm down my excitement, but before I jump into, we're breaking down the House of the Dragon Season 2 trailer. Please, before I jump into that, please go follow me on social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Sir_Hunts. You can follow me on Instagram at Sir_Hunts_reviews, and then obviously here on YouTube at Sir Hunts. I've been constantly putting out content ever since House of the Dragon Season 1 ended, and here we are, about to break down the House of the Dragon Season 2 trailer. Let's jump right into it. Slap a like on this. Like goal is going to be 420. Get it? And a super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews. And also thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. Okay, so real quick, I should mention this for anybody watching this video and you may not be aware. I'm about to mention spoilers. Not only spoilers from the books, which, Fire and Blood has been out since 2018, but also spoilers from the filming process for House of the Dragon Season 1. So please tread carefully if you don't want to know anything. Let's get right into it. This is an image of Rhaenyra looking out at Shipbreaker Bay. You see that drum tower off in the distance to the right in the middle, right? That is Storm's End. According to leaks and now confirmed, the first thing Rhaenyra will do in House of the Dragon Season 2 is fly to look for the remains of her son. According to leaks, she goes out to Shipbreaker Bay, stares off into the distance, finds a fisherman who has the remains of not only Erex, who is the dragon ridden by her son Lucerys, but also the remains of her son himself, Lucerys. It's going to be a tragic, heartbreaking scene, and the trailer opens up with it. Now, there are actually rumors, and this is in canon, there are rumors in canon that Lucerys actually survives his fall from Erex after Vhagar kills his dragon, right? He falls down to the ocean, swims to the shore, and then survives, but has no memory of who he is or what happened or, what's going on, right? So, that could go down. We haven't actually seen any images of the actor Elliot Greenholt on filming on set, right? We don't have any images of that, but he could have been filmed indoors. Who knows? All I know for sure is that this scene is going to be extremely tragic. The follow-up image, at least the close-up anyway, of Rhaenyra's face kind of makes me feel like we may be watching the death of Lucerys, like potentially, this image right here of her looking extremely somber, right? This could be the fisherman pulling remains or showing her son's tattered cloak with bloodstains on it or something. When Vhagar bit down on Lucerys and Erex's body, Erex was ripped to shreds, literally, because Vhagar chomped, right? So there were several different bites that threw different pieces of Lucerys and Erex all over the place, and I did not see a whole body falling to the ground. So I think, Erex is going to be dead. This is an amazing scene to open this trailer with. The next image that I want to discuss is this image right freaking here. All right, so we got to do a little bit of zooming, okay? This is Aegon entering the throne room, but it looks like he's got two new cronies with him, right? The next image I'll show you is a close-up of his face, but it looks like our boy, King Aegon II, is falling into the role. Now, I know there's a lot of people, myself included, that were a bit worried because all the promotional material for Season 1 and now going into Season 2 makes it seem like this conflict is between Rhaenyra and Alicent. And in canon, that's kind of not really the case, right? This is very much a Greens versus Blacks. Like, yes, the Greens are with Alicent Hightower and they're the Queen's party, but ultimately King Aegon is the one who controls what happens the most in the war, right? You'll hear people, or I guess see people, repeat online that Aegon kind of takes a back seat and he doesn't really do anything in the war. And that's kind of like one-sided. That tells me that you haven't actually read all of Fire and Blood enough to know that that's not necessarily the case. So these two dudes that are behind him are, like I mentioned before, his cronies. One of them, if I'm not mistaken, is a drinking companion that he ends up drinking with later on. Obviously, these scenes may be from the first few episodes, but later on in Season 2, there's a scene where Aegon will be at this place called the Cock Inn Tavern, and one of these dudes, I think the guy to the right, the balding dude, is supposed to be one of his companions in this scene. And also, I believe we can see in the very back, that may be our boy, Auric Cargill, who, sided with the Greens before. The guy on the left, to the left of Aegon, kind of looks a bit like Ron Weasley. Then the next image that I want to discuss is this right here. The trailer kind of mashes the scenes together and makes it look as though Daemon is in the same, King's Landing with Aegon, because they made it look like the scenes are edited together. But that's not the case. Daemon's on Dragonstone. This is right before he heads out to Harrenhal, and we see him pick up his helmet, and he's departing for war, wearing that famous armor. As a matter of fact, you guys can't see me, but I have a painting of that armor behind me. It was done by my boy Jay Fox out of London. He's an amazing artist. Go and look at some of my recent live streams if you want to view the image, the painting that I'm talking about myself. But you go follow Jay Fox on Instagram. He does amazing work. So Daemon's getting ready for battle. Like I said, the scene that went along with this is him picking up his helmet. It was really amazing to get a glimpse of him so early in the trailer. Then we have a scene of a Rook's Rest encampment, although this could also be the Vale. This scenery of like mountain or hillless backgrounds that are covered in green are heavily shown all over because that is what best makes up the landscape of the Crown Lands. So the Crown Lands are the area on the Westerosi map that surrounds King's Landing. And in the Crown Lands, it's mostly shown, like I said, these hills and greens in the background. But we know this is Rhaenyra's camp because of the flag right here. This flag right here, that's Rhaenyra's banner, right? It's a black banner with a red dragon on a black field. That is the traditional House Targaryen standards. And we'll see a little bit later on in this trailer that Aegon has kind of bastardized it. Well, that's not really a good term for it. He's amalgamated House Hightower into his own personal sigil for his coat of arms. On the books, he uses a gold dragon standard because of his dragon Sunfire and puts it on a green field, the green being for House Hightower. But we also have in this next image a close-up of the green side of things for the Rook's Rest battle. That's what most of these images were shown. I've got like almost 50 screen caps, and a lot of them are showing the battle for Rook's Rest without actually showing the most exciting part, the dragons engaging, right? We've got a big shot of Vhagar towards the end of the trailer, kind of flying overhead, and this is actually where Vhagar goes to. That's actually the last scene, as you can see right here. This is the last clip of the trailer that were shown. But basically, Vhagar's riding out to meet, get this, Meleys. Now, if you're wondering, Meleys, and this is where the leaks are coming in. I'm going to be doing a follow-up, a separate video where I'm going to be talking about all the leaks. But we know for a fact that Meleys is going to be fought and killed, ultimately, in Rook's Rest. That's what happens in canon, but then also, and more insanely, I might add, we actually have an image, right? An image of Meleys' head being marched through the streets. I'm actually trying to find it right now. This right here is that image. This was from the leaked filming process for House of the Dragon Season 2. They showed us, a CGI version of it, rather, pre-CGI, what Meleys' head is going to look like being marched through the streets of King's Landing. So the battle that is shown with Vhagar flying overhead, but we don't see him intercepting to meet Meleys. It's actually really interesting because it kind of looks like the way that they have the scenes mashed together, and I'm guilty of doing this a lot, and make it seem like Aemond on his dragon is going to go and meet with Rhaenyra, and that's clearly not the case. Rhaenyra never goes into battle with her dragon in canon, but that's probably not going to be the case for the TV show. The main reason being is because Rhaenyra is a fan favorite. Sorry, I'm struggling with this image. It, for some reason, made itself absolutely huge. But this right here is the one I'm talking about. They make it look like Aemond and Rhaenyra is going to be facing off. We all know that's not the case. If I had to guess, the main reason why they do things like this is because the average show watcher doesn't really know what to expect. Like, even if you go and watch videos on YouTube, if you just straight up haven't read Fire and Blood, you don't know what to expect. So making it seem as though Aemond and Rhaenyra facing off, is like I said, it's not going to happen, but it's something exciting that the average show watcher wouldn't expect. And then when it doesn't happen, all the events that do happen will kind of make them forget about that. So it's like, I don't really know any other way of putting it other than that. It gets people that, like myself, who know exactly what's happening in this trailer. It gets us hyped because we know what they're trying to do, right? So I don't know. But let's move on. The next image that I want to discuss for this trailer, getting way back on track to the order of the thumbnails appearing. But we have an image of Otto Hightower. It looks like Otto's in his Hand's chambers. And remember, he's had several scenes in this from last season with Rhaenyra. This is at about 15 seconds into the trailer. He had several scenes with Alicent. One of them with the younger version, Emily Carey, where she's biting her nails. And then with the older version, he's like, I know you have the determination to win it. Like, the Iron Throne is a bloody game. It's a bloody game we play, right? Like, yeah, this is amazing. I will say that I think Sir Otto is confirmed to die this season if Rhaenyra does in fact take King's Landing, because the very first thing she does in canon after taking King's Landing is removing Sir Otto's head, and we have an image. Okay, brace yourselves, of Daemon beheading someone in the trailer. Like, literally, Daemon takes his sword out and cuts a dude's head off. I forgot to find the exact moment. Here it is, right here. Sorry about that. We actually have a image of Criston Cole cutting off someone's head, and that confused me. But here it is. This right here. Daemon is removing someone's head, right? Now, that is very clearly a weirwood tree behind him, right? In canon, when Daemon takes Harrenhal, so that's where Daemon's going to. Remember that image that we saw where Daemon's taking his helmet, going off to war, he's still on Dragonstone? He's flying to Harrenhal. Once he gets to Harrenhal, he takes Caraxes and lands Caraxes on top of the King's Spire Tower and kills no one. Like, that's specifically what's mentioned in canon, is that Daemon doesn't kill anybody. He takes the castle successfully by storming it, but no one dies, right? What he ends up doing is just putting the garrison in prison, and then ultimately making a rallying point for all of Rhaenyra's forces in the Riverlands. There's several shots of Riverlands forces. There's one dude with a Bracken sigil on his chest that I'm going to talk about here in a second. But Daemon does this, and when he does this, all of Rhaenyra's forces go to Harrenhal and start mounting, basically getting together to get ready to fight this war, right? So, in my opinion, this is not Daemon at Harrenhal. This is Daemon at the Godswood tree in King's freaking Landing, in the King's Landing Godswood. Now, in canon, there's no weirwood tree in King's Landing. They added one for the TV show. But in my opinion, this is Sir Otto getting his head taken off. The way that Daemon is using Dark Sister, he's putting all of his body behind it, and he's not dressed in his armor, makes me think that he is taking King's Landing. Rhaenyra kind of thinks she wins the war when she takes the Iron Throne, right? So Daemon, all of Rhaenyra's forces are in King's Landing. Rhaenyra successfully defeats the Greens for a minute, right? She sits the Iron Throne. She's known as the half-year queen. And in this time, Daemon wouldn't need to be consistently wearing his armor. So in my opinion, they showed us, or they gave us a glimpse of Sir Otto dying in the trailer. Now, the next image that I want to discuss, and since I'm going crazy out of order, it takes me just a few seconds to get back on track here, but the very next shot we got was of Alicent, and she looks as though she's in that same room that Sir Otto was in. This isn't necessarily the most flattering face that she's making there, but this is really amazing to get the two of them having this dialogue, this conversation going on. And the whole time while these scenes are playing, there's Alicent, I believe it's Alicent talking with Sir Otto. Sounds like it could be a voiceover from Steve Toussaint, but mostly the most interesting conversation is between Rhaenys and Rhaenyra, and I want to talk about that towards the end of this video when I get up to that on the thumbnail. Now, this, in my opinion, because, obviously Alicent is still in King's Landing. This is before the fall of King's Landing, but this might be like the very first time we see the Greens of the season. So this may be right after Aemond arrives in King's Landing, Season 2, Episode 1 of House of the Dragon, right? So it'd be really, really cool to get just kind of like a moment, or several moments rather, of peace like before Aemond arrives with the news that he's killed and committed a crazy war crime against the Blacks, because technically Lucerys is an envoy, and when you're being sent as an envoy, you're just delivering messages. You're not supposed to be attacked. If you do, that's a war crime, right? So the Greens have now made the first strike against the Blacks, and it's not even a legit strike. It's playing dirty games, right? So it'll be really interesting to see the mood of the Greens before Aemond shows up. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, word travels fast, and I'm pretty sure ravens were sent, so maybe Alicent will already know about what Aemond did before he actually gets there. Then the next screenshot or image that pops up, this is completely unrelated to the scenes we've been talking about. This right here is an image that I feel like is confirmed to be with dragon seeds, right? So when Laenor is on the TV show, they fake his death and send him off, right? He gets to go live happily ever after with Khal Khori. In the books, Khal Khori actually kills Laenor. A lot of people think that Daemon hired Khal Khori to do this, but Khal Khori's Laenor's lover, and he ends up wounding him at a fair in Spicetown. Khal Khori disappears. Ultimately, Laenor dies. When he dies, and after Rhaenys dies in Rook's Rest, Corlys brings forth two bastard dudes, Adamafal and Alanafal, and says, hey, these are bastard children of my son Laenor, right? And it's not really believed at all. Most people know that Laenor was gay. So the fact that Laenor was gay, and the fact that Corlys didn't bring forth these two kids, Adam and Alan of Hull, forth until after Rhaenys' death, and the fact that they are, obviously his, is, for the TV show at least, they look exactly like Steve Toussaint. So this, in my opinion, is just a scene for the dragon seeds. Like, there's going to be several dragon seed scenes where dragon seeds are claiming, those are Targaryen bastards who claim dragons, but they're going to be setting up and paying attention to certain characters who have bigger roles than all the other dragon seeds. One of them being Alan Oakenfist and Adam of Hall. The two of them play a pretty big role in this story, so they're going to have scenes early on setting them up. We're probably just going to get random encounters where, like, maybe when they're spending time with the Blacks on Dragonstone, someone will bring up the shipyards of Hull, and then we'll flash over to the shipyards, and we'll see Adam and Alan. Although I could be completely wrong, and this could be for some other scene that we just don't know about because we aren't given enough context for it in the trailer. Then the next image that pops up is Cole beheading, I would assume this is someone who, because of the backdrop being an ocean, this is probably someone at the Battle for Rook's Rest. The backdrop looks like Driftmark, but we know that the Greens don't go there. If I had to guess, this would be, this could even potentially be when Aemond puts Harrenhal's garrison to the sword. Now, they're probably like, hold up, dude. You just said, yes, when Daemon goes to Harrenhal, right, he doesn't kill anyone. He puts the garrison in prison, right? But when he leaves and goes and takes King's Landing with Rhaenyra, Aemond marches the forces of the Greens alongside Criston Cole to Harrenhal to take Harrenhal, and then take it with no problem. Aemond is so pissed, he ends up putting the entire garrison to the sword. Now, there were actual images that were shown where Aemond is filming a scene inside what potentially looks like a courtyard, and it looks like there's a struggle with the person he's acting in the scene with, and then ultimately it looks like someone is forced down onto their knees, right? So it's hard to tell because the images were so far away, and they were so blown out of proportion. Here, I'm actually showing you the image right here. But basically, the backdrop looked like it was potentially Harrenhal, and Aemond was putting the Castellan Sir Simon Strong to the sword. And Sir Simon Strong is related to, obviously, Larry Strong, who's the Master of Whispers for King Aegon and the Greens. He's the one who actually ends up saving King Aegon's life, right? So after the Rook's Rest battle, right, King Aegon is incapacitated. He's greatly burned. He sleeps 9 out of every 10 hours. And because of this, when Rhaenyra takes King's Landing, he's in no conditioned to fight. I'm just pulled up an image of him. He looks awesome with his longer hair. It's so cool. And then also the dragon Targaryen sigil on his chest mixed with the Hightower greens looks amazing. Right? But anyway, the whole left side of his body is burned. So when Rhaenyra takes King's Landing, like I said, he's in no shape to fight or put up an assault. So Larry's strong, his master whispers, actually sneaks him away and puts him on Dragonstone. So when Rhaenyra's in King's Landing and she's sitting in the Iron Throne, Aegon is healing over on Dragonstone. And the reason why Varys, I keep calling him Varys, but the reason why Larys puts him there is because he thinks to himself, of course Rhaenyra would never think to look for her brother, who's supposedly dead, right under her nose, so to speak, because her headquarters is based out of Dragonstone. Now, the next image that I want to talk about for this video is this image of this little round, those little ball things circling. This looks like this is a Green Council meeting, and the person who just placed the ball probably did it angrily because the ball is spinning. Then the next thumbnail or grab that we got from there is King Aegon sitting on the Iron Throne in all of his epicness. His hair's gotten longer. I know there was a lot of people that wanted him to have a canonical mustache like he does, right? But he's not going to. I can't get over his drip. It looks awesome. The Conqueror's crown in all of its gloriness. I honestly can't even believe I'm recording the trailer. The trailer breakdown video. This is insane. But this was the next thumbnail that we grabbed from it, and it's related, if I had to guess, to the scene with Alicent earlier, where she's sitting looking not necessarily the most happy person. Remember this one? This is probably related to that scene. But then the next image that came up, or the next scene that happens in the trailer, is King Aegon, and then it's juxtaposed with Rhaenyra. Look at how beautiful they look. Amazing. Amazing. Look at that crown. Her crown almost looks better than Aegon's. Almost, I will say this. The shoulder adornments looks way cooler than Aegon's Hightower garb mixed with the Targaryen imagery, right? She looks stunning. Absolutely stunning. Anybody who didn't think that Emma Darcy would be able to pull off the role of Rhaenyra, you're kind of a damn fool. They murdered this. It's crazy. I'm at a loss for words of how amazingly epic this person looks. Like, I know that this is a fake character for a TV show, but if I was back in medieval times, I would bend the knee. The next image that I want to discuss, it was really cool to have the two of those images, literally seconds after each other. First one we had was Aegon, and then right after that, within, two screenshots, we had the image of Rhaenyra. So that was really cool. Then the next image that I want to discuss is Alicent. This was a close-up of Alicent blowing out a candle. Now, it looks like when we combine with what we know from the first season, the Greens are going to be the religious zealot, right? Like, if I think a zealot is somebody who is like super obsessed with religion or something, but they're going for the more religious side of things with Alicent. Remember early on, she's always like trying to get Rhaenyra to say her prayers, right? And then she's got the book that she rips the page out that gives it to Sir Otto. So Otto gives it to Rhaenyra when they're on Dragonstone. Alicent is praying, right? Like, she literally says with Cole, like, allow me to pray for you in season 1. So they're going with that crazy religious fanatic aspect with Alicent, and this is showing the audience, like, this is probably a scene from the first episode, but she's probably immediately after hearing what happens with Aemond and Lucerys dying and him committing a war crime, she probably goes to go pray, right? And then this prayer happens, and then guess what? Larry shows up, and he's like, let me see them feet, right? So it's like, it's interesting because they're trying to show it from like a historical standpoint rather, in the Westerosi society, that Alicent thought she was right because she was so religious, and she thought she was going by the laws of the Andals when she put her son on the Iron Throne, because it could never have passed to a woman from Andal tradition and Andal religion, right? So it's going to be more another aspect to her character that makes her multifaceted and way more like three-dimensional than her book counterpart. Because to be honest, sometimes the characters in Fire and Blood, Alicent being one of them, the way that they're written, they kind of fall flat. So the creators for this series are giving her way more rounded, giving her more full-bodied aspects of a character, of either why you want to hate her or why you want to love her. They're just giving her more depth. And I really do think that that's awesome when they do it like this, when they enhance on the source material that's already there, right? So like the idea that Alicent is religious, the Hightowers being part of the Faith of the Seven, and Hightower itself being a huge hand in the, not necessarily the Faith militant, but anybody who's wearing the, High Septon's crown is usually influenced by Hightower itself. So it's just really cool that they're doing that for the TV series. And the next image that I want to talk about, that we're hit with after the image of King Aegon, Queen Rhaenyra, and then Alicent blowing out the candle, and this one's pretty freaking awesome. We have our first close-up of freaking Adam of Hull. Now, Adam of Hull is being played by this dude named Clinton Liberty, and they haven't actually announced it publicly or officially yet, but he's in the trailer. We see him, and that's Sea Smoke. That dragon is the one that was ridden by Rhaenyra, but can now be up for grabs, can now be claimed. And we actually see an image of Rhaenyra facing off with Sea Smoke and her dragon Syrax in the trailer. Let me show that real quick. But this image right here is Adam of Hull, and this is probably either seconds or moments before he takes his first flight on Sea Smoke, because someone definitely is riding Sea Smoke in this scene right here, because we see that there's a rider in front of Sea Smoke, and then we can very clearly, in my opinion at least, see that that's Syrax right there. Rhaenyra just jumped off, and then we have Sea Smoke right here, and that silhouette looks very similar to Adam of Hull. And then we also have the leaked images too. Like, let's not even forget that. We've got leaked images of Rhaenyra filming this exact scene. It's going to be so cool when I have more time, because obviously this trailer's only been out for a few hours, but it's going to be so cool to go back and compare some of these leaked scenes with the scenes that we're getting from not just this trailer, right, but also other ones. There's going to be another trailer coming, but that's this scene right here. So it's really, really cool. I thoroughly enjoy making leaked videos and stuff because, to be completely honest, they keep us entertained throughout the wait for, House of the Dragon. Like, even though it was only a year from when Season 1 ended until we got the trailer for Season 2, it's still not going to be coming out for another 6 months. So it's really cool that we get, in my opinion at least, shots like the one with Rhaenyra facing off. But the next shot, the next thumbnail that I want to discuss is the actual flight of Adam of Hull. I believe it is his first flight. And this is really cool because, like I said, this wouldn't happen unless Rhaenyra's dead. And it's not cool that Rhaenyra's dead, no, but the fact that his death was handled differently than in the book. So it's a gay dude who sort of just gets killed off and is used as a plot device in the books, whereas on the TV show, he's much more, I think a lot more people liked his character, but also the fact that he kind of did get to go live a happy life somewhat with his lover called Corey, but then ultimately get to not have to participate in the events of the war, and like someone else riding his dragon confirms his death. That's kind of a cooler way to handle it than just having him killed by his lover called Corey at a fair at Spicetown, right? In my opinion, I think it would have been a massive mistake if they tried to do with what some of the rumors said, right? So there was these rumors where people said that Adam of Hull, is actually going to be Rhaenyra for the TV show, and history just sort of forgets that what Rhaenyra looked like or how old he was, and they just said, oh yeah, no, that's Adam of Hull. That's this 14 or 15-year-old kid, whereas Rhaenyra's supposed to be like 30 years old, right? Like, that would have been a foolish insanely dumb mistake for the writers to make when they didn't have to, because they created this problem themselves. So the way that I think it's being handled, in that Rhaenyra just kind of dies off screen, and then his technically would be his nephew, right? Adamofol, like, I guess it would actually be his younger brother, right? Corlys being Alan of Hull's father. But anyway, it'd be really cool if it goes down that way. I'm pretty sure this confirms it, because we know that Rhaenyra has not been seen filming at all for season 2. So then the next teaser, or the next thumbnail that comes up in this, is Rook's Rest stuff. So we have a bunch of these images from filming. I'll try to put one of these up. And this is from the filming process, where like Rook's Rest was the most insane scene or like filming shoot that I've ever seen personally. Like, they were at this location for months, it seemed like. They filmed any battle sequence in this area. My opinion, it's actually really smart. So the image that I'm showing you, the smaller one, that's from the filming process, and then the other image is from the trailer, right? But in my opinion, it actually makes the most sense. They filmed all this stuff in that one location. The backdrop looks similar. A lot of these battles in the Riverlands and then in the Crownlands have the lush green rolling hill backdrop that George describes in his stories. So it's perfect. It was amazing. I was really happy when they were filming this stuff, because in my opinion, the battle sequences are just as important as making the dragons look amazing. Like, you want the dragons to look as realistic as a dragon can on screen, but also you definitely want them to spend time making these battles look as awesome as possible, because literally Battle of the Bastards is one of the most, if not the most famous episode of Game of Thrones, and it was known for having intense, insane, like, cinema style sequences, but on the small screen. So in my opinion, it's really important that they spend time doing that. It's also really cool that they did, right? And then the next thumb grab that I want to discuss is, and this one's really awesome, because this is the Black Council. Like, this is a follow-up of like, this is probably the meeting. By the way, big shout out to Eric Cargill. Eric, I'm pretty sure I'm going to show you guys the screen now here in a second, but he has his fight with his brother, Eric, in the trailer. All we see is Eric, who's bloody, right? And then he's swinging a sword, but it's in Rhaenyra's chambers on Dragonstone, so that's supposedly going to be happening in episode 2. I personally had Luke and Elliot Tittenser follow me on Instagram, which is really cool. They interact with me and some of my posts sometimes, so that's dope. But this image right here is like I said, it's a follow-up to the initial Black Council scene that they had in episode 10 of season 1, right? And then at the very end of that, that's when Rhaenyra finds out the death of her son. So this is clearly, some time has passed. Rhaenyra looks different. She's not wearing like the exact same gown. She actually looks like she's had some time to maybe grieve, possibly. But this could be after the news of Rook's Rest and like Rhaenys' death has been passed to her. Clearly, the news of Rhaenys' death has not been passed to her, because Rhaenys is right there. Oh, okay. So let me think about what's going on here. I'm positive, right? Daemon hasn't left yet. Rhaenys is still here. Rook's Rest happens early on in the series. It's supposed to happen in episode 4. So this is probably in episode 1. This is probably after Rhaenyra took off to Dragonstone. Remember that first image that we had of her, where she was the very first image of the trailer, right? So this is the scene that I was just showing you. Was probably after that. She's got back from Storm's End. She sees her son's remains, and she's kind of trying to make battle plans. If I had to guess, this would be what's happening in this scene. So Daemon's going to be like, I'm going to Harrenhal. And Rhaenys is like, I'll go fight at Rook's Rest. And then obviously Eric is going to stay by her side. That's his job. His job is to be her personal protector. And it makes the most sense, because his brother, Auric, is told by King Aegon to go and try to kill Rhaenyra after Blood and Cheese happens. And when he does this, he's supposed to be pretending to be his brother Eric, who's Rhaenyra's guard. And obviously, he's guarding her, so he catches his brother Auric trying to sneak in, and then the two of them fight. And you know what? Since I'm talking about it, I'm going to go ahead and show that thumbnail right here. This was towards the end of the trailer. Like literally the last few seconds, as you can see right here. Even though it says that there's 30 seconds left of the trailer ends at 1:01. So I am kind of pissed that HBO said we're getting 75 seconds of the show, and really it's like a hot minute of the show. But there's a lot of scenes. They showed a lot. I'm not really complaining. So at 53 seconds in, we can see Sir Auric is fighting his brother. Like, you can tell, I personally can tell this backdrop. This is literally Rhaenyra's chambers. They'll probably have several scenes this season where Rhaenyra is filming scenes in her room, because then when this backdrop happens, if the average show watcher wasn't necessarily paying attention and is wondering why these two twins are fighting each other, probably realize, oh, okay, that's Rhaenyra's room. Oh crap, is he going there? Did they send him there to go kill his brother? It's a really tragic moment. Like, in canon, the two of them end up dying in each other's arms, according to one version of events. There's another version of events that says that Sir Eric, Rhaenyra's protector, gets the upper hand on Sir Auric, kills him, but then Sir Eric, Rhaenyra's protector, dies a few days later from a gut wound that he received from his brother Auric. So it'll be really interesting to see which way they decide to go through this for the actual trailer. So then the next image that we have is of Corlys. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this. It was just a shot of Corlys. Corlys, the actor, Steve Toussaint, hurt his back when he was filming. Or it might have been his ankle or his foot. I don't know. Go look on his Instagram. But either way, I think most of his scenes are going to be filmed in battleships. So he'll be on the ocean, and what ends up happening with his forces is he takes all of his ships and goes and annexes the Gullet. So he basically blocks all the trade coming in and out of King's Landing. And when he does this, obviously the Greens are screwed because they, one, can't have fresh food brought in, and we can actually see that there are several people that are rioting in King's Landing. Like, let me pull that up. There are several different... There's one scene in particular where Alicent is happened to be pulled away, and it's because people are rioting, and that's this scene right here. So, citizens of King's Landing are being starved by what Corlys is doing in the Gullet. Obviously, the citizens of King's Landing are the ones that suffer, but ultimately, when Rhaenyra, when Blood and Cheese happens, and Rhaenyra is sort of place the blame for it, like the Greens make it seem like this is what this treacherous queen did. She sent her brutes to come and kill us while we slept, right? So Alicent tries to have the Greens turn the city on Rhaenyra, and what ends up happening is they end up rioting for her because she's been sneaking in food. Now, this is all leaks that are not confirmed at all, right? But according to those leaks, it's part of that plot that's happening. It's where Alicent gets taken, and obviously the citizens of King's Landing are not too happy with what they're being told. The fact that they're being starved is all the Crown's fault, and the Crown is telling them that it's not their fault, it's actually Rhaenyra's fault. So it's going to be a crazy cluster of who to believe and who to blame for certain things that are happening. And the next image from the trailer that I want to talk about is... Well, I already talked about Daemon beheading someone, so let's talk about... we got our first solo shot of Aemond, and this is awesome because Aemond, it kind of looks like a dream sequence. Aemond doesn't seem like he's awake. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it could just be the way the trailer's edited, and then the music in the backdrop made me think like this is a dream sequence. But Aemond is basically walking up to the Iron Throne, and he sees it. The next shot of the trailer from this one was an actual shot of the Iron Throne itself. Right, so Aemond is kind of creeping around, and they're making it seem like he wants it, right? So his character tells Criston Cole in episode 9 of season 1 House of the Dragon, he's like, I'm the one who studied the books. I'm the one who mastered the blade. I'm the one who knows all these languages, and I would do my duty if this was my job. Like, basically, remember him, Aemond and Criston Cole are looking for Aegon because Aegon's hiding. He doesn't want the crown, right? And Aemond's like, this is insane because I want it. I am the one who is the best at all these different things. I should sit the Iron Throne. So Aemond does not actually sit the Iron Throne, but he becomes Prince Regent. He becomes the king for the Greens while his brother is healing. So they're going to have several moments with, if I had to guess, Aemond lusting for power, so to speak. Initially, when I first watched this, I've seen the trailer 10 times now, but initially when I first watched this, I thought that maybe Aemond was sneaking around trying to look for whoever came in through and tried to do blood and cheese. Like, I thought maybe they would have Aemond discover blood and cheese happening, and maybe he kills one of them and the other one's able to get away or something. Like, that definitely doesn't happen in canon, but there is a strong number of people in the fandom, myself included, who think that there's a chance that Aemond could be the secret father of Aegon's children, Jaehaera and Jaehaerys, and Maelor in the books. I don't think Maelor is going to be a thing on the show. So Jaehaera and Jaehaera are twins that are Aegon's heirs, and they're killed when Daemon hires Blood and Cheese. Blood is a former glowcoat. Cheese is a rat catcher to sneak into the Tower of the Hand and go and kill the king's heir. They end up capturing Helaena, as you can see in this image right here. Like, Helaena very clearly is being held captive with Blood. Blood's got like a dagger at her neck. It's insane. That's Sam C. Wilson. The dude who's on Instagram, he talked about growing out his beard for this. But this is going to be an intense moment. Supposedly, Helaena in the books picks Maelor because she doesn't think that Maelor would understand what the hell is going on. So instead of killing Maelor, they killed Jaehaerys. And they're like, you hear that? Your mom wants you dead, boy. And then they do it. And it's a really tragic scene, right? And like, I thought when I first watched the trailer that they were having Aemond discover blood and cheese going on. But you got to realize, in canon, they can't sneak into the throne room. They have to do it in the Tower of the Hand because the throne room is so guarded. So if that's not actually happening here, and Aemond's not searching for, like, maybe he hears Helaena screaming or something. If that's not what's happening in this scene, this is just Aemond and his quest and his lust for power. It's kind of like Daemon and Viserys, right? Like, very similarly, Daemon is a amazing battle commander. He rides Caraxes. He has people that follow him, right? And he feels like he should be the king's heir. But the king doesn't like fighting, doesn't like riding a dragon, never rides one after Balerion, is nothing like his brother, and he's the one who gets the throne, right? So it's kind of, George has that thematic elements that are repeated a lot throughout his writing, and that's one of them. It's like being the second brother who, at this time, like, you don't necessarily have an heir, at this point in time, like, you don't necessarily, you aren't considered all that unless you're the ruler of the house. So the firstborn son always becomes the lord, and then if the father has more sons, those sons do not become the lord of that house. They have other things. They usually get married off and all this other nonsense. So George has this theme where, like, the first son, the one who gets everything, doesn't necessarily deserve it, but then the second or the third son or someone close in relation in the family is a way better candidate, but they end up getting crapped on. That's like something George loves writing about, and that's what's going on with this Aemond scene. Then the next image that we got in the teaser trailer, after we get the shot of Aemond walking up to the Iron Throne, is this right here. Freaking the Night's freaking Watch. And Cregan and freaking Jacaerys in the storyline. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. This is the storyline that everybody's the most excited about, right? 35 seconds into the trailer, we get a shot of what is very clearly Night's Watchmen marching north. Now, if you're wondering, what do the leaks say about this? Well, let me show you, because I got those right here. According to leaked images, this is this scene right here. And it actually looks very similar. That's crazy. Look at that. Those are the same trees. They just made them dark. Dark. Super dark. So anyway, that's this scene right here. And we don't actually know what's happening. There were several different rumors, right? There was a scene of, hang on, I'm getting to the point here. There was a scene of these guys right here. Like, these are the dudes in that scene, right? These are these guys right here, right? And supposedly, one rumor was Jacaerys arrives to Winterfell and decides to go to the wall to check out the Night's Watch. And in doing so, there was this scene right here that was filmed. I was sent leaks through the DMs over on Twitter. Please go follow me at Sir_Hunts. But people told me that there was going to be a scene where Jacaerys goes on a hunting trip with Cregan, and that's where they bond, kind of like what happens in canon, but they bond on that hunting trip, and in doing so, they go and take other Northern Lords with them. So these Northern Lords are going on that hunting trip with Jacaerys and Cregan, and this is him arriving to Winterfell with the Lords back in tow. There were other rumors that supposedly Jacaerys can't keep his dragon in Winterfell because the dragon grows weary of the cold, so he doesn't actually spend that much time in the north, and it's kind of a quick scene, but then there's more scenes later or something. Like, who knows exactly what's happening, but for sure we could say that this scene is in the north. It looks as though it is the first time we're going to be seeing Cregan Stark, for sure. So I'm really excited about that. I know a lot of people are. If you're wondering who's going to be playing him, there were rumors that there's this actor known as Tom Taylor who follows Harry Collette on Instagram, and he's kind of been teasing the fandom about him being Cregan. But we didn't actually get any close-ups or anything. Like I said, watched this trailer 10 times, and I took over 50 screenshots, and there were no close-ups of anyone that would potentially be playing Cregan. Now, there was a close-up of, there's this guy who pulls his sword, right? I'll show you right here. This guy right here. This dude right here does not look like Tom Taylor. And I initially thought it was going to be Bloody Benjacut Blackwood. But if you look at the sigil on his chest, that is a Bracken. So this character is going to be in the Riverland scenes, and that's not Cregan Stark. And I thought maybe it would be like Daeron or something, but no, it's very obvious. This is during the Riverlands. This is probably the battle at the Burning Mill, if I had to guess from in canon. But like I said, I didn't expect them to reveal a character as big as Cregan in this teaser trailer. Maybe in the main trailer, because in the main trailer, we typically have more than just quick shots. We'll get like actual dialogue scenes where we'll have like a 10-second or a 5-second scene, right? The next actual screen grab that I want to discuss from the trailer is this one right here. This one's really insanely, extremely confusing. Like one of the most confusing shots out of all of the entirety, right? Is it King's Landing? Is it Harrenhal? There's a massive lake. King's Landing is on the water. It's possible because I'm sorry, let me explain. This right here, this is Alicent. Let me pull the screen grab from right after that. So this is Alicent looking out on the river, and for some reason, she's not in King's Landing. Okay, so in canon, after the entirety of the Dance of Dragons happens, so from 129 to 131 AC, the Dance of Dragons is going on. When it ends, Alicent is still alive, and she ends up dying in 133 AC, right? So just 2 years after the events of the Dance of the Dragons, from something known as the Winter Fever. The Winter Fever wipes out a good chunk of all of the characters that are left over from the dance, and Alicent is one of those. There is no way they're going to do that for her death on the TV show. That's just not going to happen. They're not going to, maybe, but I doubt it. That's very anticlimactic. They're not going to do like a small time jump and show, hey, this is Alicent dying. They're going to want her death to be epic on screen, and it actually doesn't really matter in far as terms of canon too much, because ultimately she dies. They're just going to make it way more impactful and meaningful for the TV show. So I don't think she's going to die in season 2, but I do think there's a possibility that she could potentially escape King's Landing. I just don't know how, like, she would have to have been taken out of King's Landing, right? Or escaped when her son Aegon escapes by Lares. But she wouldn't be so somber. Like, she wouldn't look like she's facing death or could willingly face death and would not give a crap about it because she's lost so much. That's what these two images are saying to me. You see this woman looking out on this lake, and then when they close up on her face, it's a green backdrop like I'm showing you in this image right here, but it's very much not King's Landing. This is not in King's Landing. So I'm genuinely confused. I want to leave this up to my watchers. Like, this video is almost an hour long, but please, like, I have a lot of answers, but I don't have any answers for this. I want you all to let me know what you think. What the heck is happening down below in the comment section? This is crazy. Genuinely, these images have left me flabbergasted because Alicent does not leave King's Landing in canon. After Rhaenyra takes the city, what happens in canon is, well, there's multiple different rumors because there's always different versions of events that happen in this story. That's what makes it the history book. But one of the most believable versions is that Rhaenyra literally just locked her up and didn't do anything to her because she's kind of not innocent, but like her death wouldn't amount to anything. Like, Rhaenyra's already sitting on the Iron Throne. Rhaenyra is already ruling King's Landing. She's already fighting this battle on all these different fronts. She kind of just leaves Alicent alone. Like, there's one rumor that supposedly she puts Alicent and Helaena in a brothel and has people do what they do in a brothel to Alicent and Helaena. That just doesn't happen, right? The book does a pretty good job of disparaging those rumors immediately after announcing them. And that's something that people who don't like Rhaenyra said she did because they want to further besmirch her name. But that's not the case. It looks as though Alicent may escape King's Landing with Varys, or maybe even Rhaenyra takes her out of King's Landing herself. Like, maybe Rhaenyra wants to put her in a different position or something. I don't know. You all, like I said, let me know what you think is happening down below in the comment section in these screen grabs. Then the next event that I want to talk about is Rhaenyra on Syrax. This is amazing. She looks so cool. Like, look at that. I thought she had scars on her face at first, but that's just her hair. The wig from her hair is white, so it makes it look like she's got, like scars on her face, but she doesn't. This is, if I had to guess, as you can see, this is at 37 seconds into the trailer. If I had to guess, I would say that this is when Rhaenyra is about to take King's Landing. It's possible that this is when she flies to Shipbreaker Bay. As a matter of fact, yeah, I think this is when she flies to Shipbreaker Bay, because if we go all the way back to the very first... Oh, no. This is after that. Okay. All right, well, yeah, maybe this is when she takes King's Landing. Maybe Rhaenyra goes to Rook's Rest, doesn't actually participate in the battle, but does like a speech, because Rhaenys is the one who goes there, and at the very end of the trailer, like, Rhaenys is the one who actually fights in the battle, but at the very end of the trailer, Rhaenys and Rhaenyra are talking, and when they're talking, this kind of looks like this is from that scene. All right, so we've got Rhaenyra and Rhaenys saying, like, when you fight with dragons, this is the bloodiest war of all. Like, you're going to lose everything, right? So I feel like this is a speech that's potentially given to her before she flies off to battle. We'll say Rhaenys' hair looks amazing, like, way more toned down than it did. She had, like, a giant cone head kind of thing going on in the first season, but it looks like they've chilled that out. If I had to guess, I would think that this scene with Rhaenyra standing with Syrax looking like that, I would feel like this is the same from around the same moment. It gets really easy to fall into the trap of thinking that all of these screen grabs are from the entirety of the season because they look so different, like the characters will look so different. But from my past experience with Game of Thrones, most of these screen grabs are probably from the first and second episode. So even though it looks like this is covering multiple different events, like, yeah, there are a few scenes that are from later on in the season, but mostly they show you clips from the first few episodes because usually those are the ones that are done with post-production being completed first, right? So they want to start working on the episodes that are going to premiere first. Obviously, all the episodes are going to be done by the time the show comes out, but I feel like they'll film them in any order. Like, they can film the third episode first and then the second episode last or something. But ultimately, when they're editing these, they probably try to put the stamp on them. So usually the first through the third episodes are finished by the time the trailer comes out. So most of the clips are from those episodes. But we will see. We will see. Let me know what you all think down below in the comment section. And then the next screen grab that I want to discuss, I kind of already talked about this, but this is going to be a quintessential, crucial, insane, exciting, super awesome moment for the TV show. Unless Rhaenyra, because you got to realize, Rhaenyra, when he left with Carl Corey, he was willingly giving up his dragon, right? So unless he came back for Sea Smoke, then Rhaenyra's dead. So the reason why Rhaenyra looks so somber, like in that last shot that I showed you, and now that I just mentioned that, so then that isn't from when her scene with Rhaenys on Rook's Rest. Okay, so that was just a different scene. So this is from when Rhaenyra meets Adam will fall after he's mounted Sea Smoke. So the reason why Rhaenyra looks so somber about approaching that is because she's looking at her dead husband's dragon. Like, she didn't see Rhaenyra die. As far as she knows, he's still alive. But maybe the fact that Adam will fall has claimed his dragon, Sea Smoke, then that confirms Rhaenyra's death. So maybe she feels some type of way that this person is now flying her ex-husband's dragon. You know, it's her ex-husband who she, you know, kind of, according to rumors, had murdered so that she could make way for him to marry Daemon. Even though deep down she knows that she allowed Rhaenyra to go escape and be happy, right? Like, publicly, people think she murdered her husband to make way to marry Daemon. So, of course, she's going to feel some type of way when someone's riding her dead husband's dragon. Then the next image that I want to discuss for this trailer is this image right here. This was a quick shot of Dragonstone. If I had to guess, this is... I'm sorry, this is not a quick shot of Dragonstone. This is a quick shot of the Dragon Pit as seen from King's Landing. It's possible that it could be Rook's Rest. I just doubt it. This is just a different angle of the city. King's Landing, you got to realize, on the TV show, King's Landing for the Game of Thrones show is not designed like how it is in the books. And House of the Dragon, I feel like they're going to be doing it differently, and we're going to see just how big King's Landing is. Like, there's multiple different gates. There's 7 different gates that you can enter into King's Landing through. And one of them is has the Dragon Pit kind of featured on high. So I feel like this is a shot of the Dragon Pit before maybe the fall of King's Landing. Something's for sure going to be happening in this scene of, like, the peaceful, this show is not the type to have, like, peace for too long. Then the next image that I want to discuss is of Helaena. Now, this right here is after Blood and Cheese. This is when Helena's walking through the streets of King's Landing, and we actually do have an image of this. We have an image from sorry, hang on a second, let me pull that up. This image from when they were filming, obviously. But it's cool that we're actually getting to see it now on screen. So this is they didn't actually show this too much in the trailer, like the Blood and Cheese funeral death scene, but this is from that. So Helaena, after Blood and Cheese happens, Jaehaerys dies, and Helaena and Alicent are in a cart, and they're going through the city, and the cart is attacked. This is where we had the shots of Alicent being, groped and pulled from earlier in the trailer, right? But I've been sent leaks that actually say that Helaena, there's several different, because Helaena will die at the end of this season, right? Supposedly before we get Alicent looking out at the lake, Helena's already dead at that point. But what happens in canon is Helaena jumps out of the window, and she ends up dying on the spikes that spear her through the stomach, because she's like, when she jumps out of a window, she lands in this dry moat that has spikes in it. It's inside Maegor's Holdfast, which is inside the Red Keep, which is the castle in King's Landing, right? So Red Keep is the big castle. Maegor's Holdfast is the smaller castle inside of that. And the reason why Maegor put a castle inside of a castle is because, he gets use out of it. People get use out of it right away, but literally it's just so that if someone besieges the actual Red Keep, you can still mount a defense inside of that in Maegor's Holdfast. So it's a castle inside of a castle. But anyway, Helena's in there, and she ends up jumping to her death, and she falls down, tumbles to the ground, lands on the spikes, and then dies. So on the TV show, some leakers told me that they're going to be hinting at that. So I think this scene right here where Helena's looking up, she's looking up at the window she will potentially jump out of. And supposedly that window is the same one that Tommen jumps out of and that Aegon was releasing stuff from the window from last season. So we'll see. Then the next image or the next screen grab that pops up in the trailer that I want to discuss is... This is not necessarily as exciting as that last image, but this is from... Oh, that one's still up. But this is from the funeral of Melee's head being marched through the streets. So when Melee's head is marched through the streets, they actually say, "Look what this traitor has done." Here, let me show you. The guy holding the drum and hitting it, he's on the green sides. There's a person in front of him who's kind of like a herald banner or a banner heralder, and he's yelling out, "Look at the traitor dragon's head. The dragon is a traitor. It is the head of the traitor dragon." And that's this scene right here that's being filmed. And then the next image, and I'm going to try to blow through some of these because we've pretty much getting down to the end. Got a big shot of the Rook's Rest battle. Let's, like I said, there could be a few other battles. I just say Rook's Rest because most of the stuff was filmed in that location, but you're probably going to have the Battle of the Burning Mill, Siege of Harrenhal, maybe even the Fish Feed. There's going to be several different canonical battles that'll be shown in Season 2, but the big one is going to be Rook's Rest because this is where, if you're unaware, Melee's goes and helps out the people of Rook's Rest who are being burned by the Greens, and when she gets there, it's a trap. Sunfire and Vhagar are there, and they obviously kill her. Kill Rhaenys, kill Melee's, and then they march Melee's head through the streets yelling out the traitor thing, because remember, Melee's just busted up through the floor last season and killed thousands of innocent people in King's Landing. So the next image that I want to discuss is, this is real quick, this is Criston Cole chasing the Lords of Staunton through the woods, and this is the Battle of the Burning Mill. Like, this is all around that time. Looks very similar to Criston Cole's armor, so that's why I'm assuming it's him. He could be chasing down someone who's fleeing battle. There's a possibility for that. Then the next image I want to discuss is this one right here. This is crazy. Not really that crazy, but it doesn't happen in canon. All right, so Baela, the first time she mounts her dragon is when she goes to fight King Aegon II on Dragonstone. It's her dragon Moondancer by King Moondancer fighting Aegon's dragon Sunfire. So it's the sun versus the moon. Her dragon is way too small for her to ride up until this point. So I think what this is they've aged up her dragon a little bit, and she's on Moondancer, and she's with Rhaenyra at the fall of King's Landing. So she's going to help Rhaenyra take King's Landing, and she may even be given some plot lines from Nettles. Nettles is one of the dragon seeds that rumored was cut from the show entirely, so we'll see. But this is awesome. She's definitely riding a dragon. Her scene was cut last season. Like, she had a really big scene with Rhaenys. The actress who plays her, Bethany Antonia, does an amazing job bringing this character to life. But there was a scene that she had with Rhaenys that got cut. It was left on the cutting room floor where she basically walks up and says, I have a dragon, I want to fight. And, like, Rhaenys has to tell her, like, no, this is not, like, kind of calm down almost. But, like, in my opinion, that's what's happening in this scene. And then the next moment that I want to talk about, and these aren't necessarily in order, this is just the things that I'm most excited for. We had Helaena being attacked by blood and cheese. Crazy exciting thing to see. But we have the shot of Aemond. This is Aemond in Rook's Rest. Supposedly, according to leakers that sent me information, they say that basically Aegon and Sunfire fight with Melee's and Rhaenys for a while. Melee's and Meleys is winning the battle, obviously because she's so much bigger than Sunfire, but Sunfire gets a few blows in, and then eventually Aemond, who's sitting off on the sidelines, ends up joining the battle. When he does that, him and Vhagar bum rush into Rhaenys and Meleys and Sunfire, and when they do that, that's what actually causes the king to get burned and him to fall to the ground and like his dragon to go crashing to the ground, ultimately what kills Meleys. But it's Aemond's actions in the Battle of Rook's Rest that directly lead to King Aegon being burned. So they're supposedly, according to some rumors and leaks, supposedly that's going to be a massive like plot point for House of the Dragon Season 2, is that the reason why Aegon is kind of like inept and taken out almost is actually Aemond's fault, and he does it intentionally, trying to seat himself on the Iron Throne. And that kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about Aemond having that scene, looking at the Iron Throne, him having that scene with Cole last season, being like, I'm the one who studied, I'm the one who's the best at this and the best at that, I should be king. Like, if you call for me, I'll be there. I'm not going to be hiding like Aegon, right? So, I don't know. All of that really gets me excited. And then the last image that I want to talk about for this video is of, well, it's kind of that same thing, but it's like the last shot. It's of Rhaenyra on her saddle looking down. Like, I think Rhaenyra will be taken, if just basing off of this trailer, I feel like Rhaenyra will play a bigger role than she did in the books when it comes to dragon battles. She's got so many different scenes where she's on her dragon, Syrax, mounted up, looking like she's giving orders. This scene right here could be where she first flies to Shipbreaker Bay and discovers the remains of her son. I know I've said that a few times throughout this trailer, but it's got to be one of those moments, has to be that scene, right? But I want to thank you all so much for watching. This video was over an hour long. There's going to be more content coming. Please subscribe to me here on YouTube, turn notifications on, and then also slap a like on this video. Like goes going to be 420. Big special shout out to my Patreon producers. They are Breanne Johnson, North Must Remember, Destiny, Phillips, and Pebbles83. Thank you all so much for watching. The long night's coming to an end. We're going to have House of the Dragon on our screens, brand new episodes in less than like 6 months. It's crazy.